Woohoo! Hang up the phone. I called Jeremy immediately. Hey, man, I didn't know what the record was, but you and I just beat it by 3 minutes. So several years ago, I had the opportunity to participate in the 2904, and it was an experience unlike anything else. I mean, I will always treasure that. I went back to repeat in the C2C Express, and again, it was everything I could possibly want for in a long distance, under the radar kind of event. There's people that say, oh, it costs a lot of money. Well, you can spend money and invest in a mortgage a small house. If you do it correctly and you really plan it out, then you can actually do it on a budget. But one of the difficult things for me was the time. I was living in Florida, drive to New York. Driving to California during the event was easy enough, but then I had to get all the way back to Florida. It was just a major time commitment. So let me see if there's other events that are available that are closer. It turns out there are. First one I entered was the Southern Classic, which is a recreation of the Smokey and the Bandit. It goes from Lakewood to Texarkana. You buy some Coors Banquet, take it back to Lakewood. It's roughly 1,300 odd miles, I think. I did that a couple times, had some luck with it. Oh, I want more. These are nice because the start point, Atlanta, was just a 6-hour drive from where I lived. Well, I retired last year and moved to Alabama. And then I heard of an event in Alabama called the Alabama Hammer. And okay, well, I got to check this out. Problem was, by this point, I'd given away my Cannonball car to a good friend. I love the guy to death. That's why I gave him the car, but didn't have a car, so can't do a long distance efficiency and endurance event without something that's got a little power, and my Jeep just wasn't going to cut it. So what do? You go down to Enterprise and you rent something. So I signed up, and it was going to be this year on April 1st. I think it was even called a fool's errand. April 1st. Okay, I'm signed up. But being slightly competitive, I wanted to somehow give myself an advantage. Well, the best way of doing it is to go out and actually run it. So I called my good friend in Jacksonville, Jeremy, who had done the Southern Classic with me a couple of times. Just meet me in Mobile where the start is. I contacted the event organizer, Adam, and I said, hey, are you open to bribes? Maybe. Why? What's you interested in? What I did was I went out and made patches that said Alabama Hammer, and I gave him a whole pack of them. And I said, I'll give you these if you guarantee my start time. And he was agreeable to that. I said, just give the patches out to all the participants. So I had a 5 a.m. start time on April 1st. So 2 weeks prior, my buddy Jeremy comes up, and we're going to run the hammer just like the actual event, leave at 5 a.m. Well, the trick with the hammer is the routing. You have checkpoints you have to go to. So you can fairly easily on Google figure out what's the shortest distance, but that's not necessarily the fastest. You have to look at traffic patterns, what time of day you're going to be there, so on and so forth. So you really have to think about your route. Well, Jeremy and I, we're on Joiner, so everybody's watching us 2 weeks prior to the group event. And we had some luck. Traffic wasn't bad. For the first 3-4 hours, our average was almost 100, despite the checkpoints. But traffic began to build. Speed began to drop. So we go rolling into the finish, 2, 3 in the afternoon, whatever it was. And Adam, the organizer, had been following us, so he was there to greet us. And a lot of high fives, a lot of handshaking. Hey, great job. We finished in 9 hours and 22 minutes. Well, I'm going to get back home. It's about a 4-hour drive, and I swap out the rental for my Jeep again. I get a call from Adam. He says, you finished in 9:22, right? I said, well, yeah. He says, well, I don't know how to tell you this, but that's a record for this course. And so, woohoo, hang up the phone, and I called Jeremy immediately. Hey, man, I didn't know what the record was, but you and I just beat it by 3 minutes. And we were just, wow. So that was fun. Had a great time, made it home. Well, 2 weeks goes by, and it's time for the main event. Okay, we had 15, 16, 17 cars there. Well, I'm going to be the rabbit. First off the line. It's 5 a.m. and everybody's there. Now, I was going to do the actual group event solo. Okay, kept something new. I'd never done it solo before, but I was confident in my routing, confident in my electronics that I'd set up in the rental, and thought, I got a pretty decent shot. Well, 5 a.m., take off. And of course, it's completely dark. And the fog was coming in pretty thick north of Mobile. So my speed wasn't very high at the time. I was probably doing in the 90s. Just I have to make sure that I can finish the event. You got to drive smart. Waze pops up and it says there's law enforcement ahead. So, okay, no problem. I passed by where he said it was. Now, there was a lot of fog. I could have missed him, but I'm like, how old is the report? Of course, the real trick isn't you're solo. I am driving in fog, and I've got electronics. I'm trying to do this. But I'm like, I'm just going to keep my speeds normal for a while in case he moved. Sure enough, radar detector goes off. Okay, he's ahead of me off to the left. So I passed by and gave him a little wave as I went by, and no big deal. So I'm going along just in case, just a little slow for a while. Well, let me pull up Joyner real quick and see where the other guys are. I had noticed prior to this close encounter that there were a couple of cars that were beginning to gain on me. But after this, I'm noticing the gap. I'm not even going that fast, but the gap is increasing. And being solo, I couldn't take time to group message everybody. I just couldn't do that. I could just barely, is all I could do just to watch Waze and the road. Turned out the first guy behind me who wanted to catch me really bad, there was an issue with his wiring. His radar detector kept shorting out. So they would rework it and keep going. But sure enough, during one of those shorts is when he came up on that law enforcement officer, and it turned out to be the only citation of the event. But everybody else behind him had also slowed because he was able to get on the group chat. So anyway, I'm still excited, and I'm going through Birmingham. I'm continuing north. I'm picking up the checkpoints, make it to Huntsville, and by this time, a couple of cars are really close to me. But what you don't really know is who's gotten the checkpoints and who hasn't. So it's not a real indicator just because they're near you. As I'm going south, we can see each other, and we got an eye in the sky watching us, texting us, who's watching DOT cams and listening to state troopers on the radios and feeding us this information, which was real helpful. He sent me some messages. Hey, Chris, take this exit. You'll save time. I'm actually feeling pretty good. I'm back, made it back to Birmingham, 3/4 through the event. And wow, I actually stand a chance at doing well. When all of a sudden, pow. Interstate southbound through Birmingham is 10 lanes, so there's lots of room, and I was probably pushing the speed limit a little bit at the time. Regardless, I heard this pow. My dash lights up like a Christmas tree, and what the heck's going on? And all my speed, I'm stepping on the accelerator, nothing. I'm just 90, 80, 70. So I quickly see an exit, get off. Now, to this day, I don't know what happened to the car because I pulled into a parking lot, I popped the hood, I checked everything, but there was an audible bang, but I literally can't see anything wrong. Yeah, so I messaged the group, I may be out of it, guys, mechanical. Well, what do? I'm in Birmingham, I'm 200 miles from the finish where my Jeep is, and well, I just have to continue. But how do you do that? So I call the rental car company, which begins this whole process of we can send you a tow truck, we can do this, we can do that. But somehow I had to make it to the Birmingham airport to get a replacement. Now, I don't want to wait. If the car goes 20, which is all it would do at this point, 20 miles an hour, 45 minutes back to the Birmingham airport. So it was all great until I get there. And they were waiting for me. They'd warned them that I was coming. And they said, Mr. Hayes, it's going to be an hour before we have your replacement car. Now, looking at this garage full of rentals, of course, it's multiple agencies. And they said, well, no, the particular car you rented was what we were going to give you back, but it's going to take an hour. I'm like, well, I don't need that same car. I'll take anything. She types. She kind of gets this look on her face. She says, well, Mr. Hayes, the only thing we have that's available is a Kia Soul. Not my first choice for a cannonballing car, but decide, well, it's better just to take this instead of waiting. Time-wise, I'm better off just doing 55 or whatever this car will do. Back to Mobile to at least finish out the day. And by now I'm looked at Joyner and so many cars have passed me. I'm completely out of it. I just want to get back home. Well, it turns out a Kia Soul, despite any perception I had of it, is actually a pretty comfortable car. It's pretty nice to drive, and it's got a decent radio. It just happens to be 4 Matchbox wheels on a shoebox. So the exterior of it's not for me. So anyway, I keep going, and I finished next to last, I think. So at least I wasn't completely late, despite the 3-hour holdover at the Birmingham airport. But so I guess the moral of the story is sometimes when you're cannonball, you just take what life throws at you, and Kia Soul or not, you just go for it, hope for the best, and have a great time.
We'd like to thank this month's sponsor of the VINwiki YouTube channel, Minta Watches. We know the world of great cars and great watches tends to overlap a lot, and Minta specializes in remarkable timepieces, both vintage and modern, because they know that great watches also have great stories. So if you're looking for some entertaining and educational watch content, be sure to check out Adam's YouTube channel. And if you're in the market for a watch or you just want to learn more about watches, be sure to reach them at the link in the description below. They'll take great care of you.